Woo! What's going on, guys? Almost fun coming at you guys today with another video. In today's video, I want to be talking about the Detroit Lions, obviously, but I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to be talking about my yearly review of the Detroit Lions. I'm going to put a different spin on it, though. I'm going to be doing negatives and positives. Now, let me explain this. All you see yearly reviews across the board, and they're all kind of the same. They talk about this, talk about that. They don't really get into the positives or the negatives. They talk about it, but they don't focus on it as much as I would really like to. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do both offensively and defensively. I'm going to start with the offense first. I'm going to go just get the negatives out of the way, because let's just get all the negatives out of the way, and then we'll focus on the positives. This is going to be a long series, so I got a lot of videos planned for this. But today is going to be the quarterbacks. This is going to be episode 1A. So this is going to be long. The series, these videos won't necessarily be long, because on offense there wasn't a ton of negatives to talk about. So these ones are going to be pretty quick for the offense, but we'll try and get it done as diligent as I can. So I'm going to start off with the quarterbacks first here, okay? Episode 1A. There's not a lot of negativity to talk about with the quarterback situation here in Detroit. All year, I was on Jared Goff. I believe some of it was justified. Some of it wasn't. Maybe it was, just being a little bit emotional about things at times. But there are some negativity towards this quarterback room. Now, we all know, let's just get the backups out of the way. We had Nate Sudfeld here. We had David Blau here. Tim Boyle, Joshua Dobbs ended up getting picked up by the Tennessee Titans. And played a couple games, actually started a couple games. Tannehill went down, and then he actually started over rookie Malik Willis. So I think for 2 games, had a chance to even win the AFC South. They went with Dobbs instead of the rookie. Who knows what's going on over there? That's the Titans' deal. That's their problem. Let them sort that out. But I feel Joshua Dobbs was probably our best backup here. He got poached off the practice squad. That's going to happen. He was a guy that got drafted a few years back, 4th or 5th round by the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, or I think the Steelers drafted him. Went on to a couple teams, Jacksonville, Cleveland Browns. He's a journeyman. He's been a journeyman, and he ended up on the Tennessee Titans. He was with us, Tennessee Titans, and the list goes on and on. Who knows what happens to him next year? I would actually like for the Lions to actually pick him back up, though, somehow, and have him learn under Jared Goff, develop him, or you draft somebody. But that's a whole other video. We're not going to get into that right now. We will probably down the road. But our quarterback situation was not good until I thought Joshua Dobbs came into fold. Nate Sudfeld, has been with San Francisco 49ers. He might have started a couple games, I think, over there too as well. Big guy, big pocket passer, big arm. Not crazy talent. Then we had David Blau here too, a guy that we acquired from the Cleveland Browns years back. Gave up a draft pick, I believe, to get him. Decent arm, got some mobility to him. Nothing special. Then we had Tim Boyle here, who was the hometown hero in Green Bay for a little bit. Everybody thought he was going to be the next, the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers. Never really happened. Rodgers was very upset that we poached him. I think we took him off their practice squad. I forget how that happened, or we just signed him to a contract when his contract was up, and he became a Lion, and he got a little bit of that Packers feeling, kind of moved over to Detroit, and all of a sudden Tim Boyle might have been the next guy that people were thinking, because if it happened in Green Bay, it's going to happen in Detroit, right? That's not the way it happens. But we all know what Tim Boyle was here. He was terrible. He did not look good in a Detroit Lions uniform whatsoever. We saw him start a couple games as well, and it was just a train wreck. David Blau, I think, was a better fit here. He ended up getting released as well too. He ended up starting, I think, a game for the Arizona Cardinals in 2022, a game or two. So they were trying to see what they had in him. our backup situation, I think, is terrible. I wish we would have, like I said, I wish we would have found a way to kept Joshua Dobbs. It didn't happen. He was poached. It's just going to happen. I believe, like I said, I believe this team will draft a quarterback early or late to work behind Goff. Not saying to replace him, but just saying eventually we need a good backup in case something happens to Goff. Okay? That's all I'm really saying. So everybody calm down. I'm not saying replace Goff. I'm just saying you have to protect your investment. If something does happen to Goff and we have a guy like a Nate Sudfeld or just say a Tim Boyle, then we're in trouble. We're in big time trouble, and we can't necessarily afford that. So we need help there. Now to Jared Goff. Okay, like I said, I have given this guy grief for majority of the season. He had a good year. We're not going to focus on the positives, though. We're going to try to get those negatives out of the way. But there's a few things that I don't like about Jared Goff, and some of those are never going to change. Like his arm strength. He showed this year that he could throw the deep ball. It took a while. It took about 6, 7, 8 weeks for him to finally get a good ball down the field, which was weird. He did have a nice ball against the Philadelphia Eagles on that first game, and then after that, we kind of didn't see it. Then after that, we didn't really see it until 6, 7 weeks down the road. Chark got it. He's getting healthier. We saw Jameson Williams come in the mix. It looked like that Goff was getting even more comfortable in 2022 with his deep ball. But his arm strength still concerns me because we saw a lot of balls that fell short, that just didn't have enough power behind them. And I'm not sure if that's something he's going to be able to work on. You get in the gym a little bit. You don't have to muscle up and become a bodybuilder or anything like that. Some guys just have the natural arm strength. Some guys just don't. That's just what it is. You can do all the weights that you want. Doesn't mean you're going to throw a ball through a brick wall. If all of a sudden if you can lift like 150 pounds over your head and do a lot of dumbbell work, whatever you got to do, whatever he has to do. But there is ways probably to strengthen that arm. And I honestly think that Goff needs to do that a little bit in the off season. He's not a very big guy. It's okay. He's tall. He's 200 something pounds though, but he's just not he doesn't look like a big guy. He's not muscular, but that's okay. I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking for arm strength. I just want arm strength. There's ways to work on it. If it happens, it happens. It doesn't, it doesn't. But that's one of my concerns. My other concern is he can't extend plays with his legs. That's never going to happen, though. He's not going to extend plays with his legs because he's a pocket passer. That's just what he is. That's what we have to just face it. That's what he is. That's fine. He's a pocket passer. And in my mind, the pocket passer is starting to die. But this guy had a great season, okay? He had a great season as a pocket passer. He's in a good system, and we'll leave it at that. But he's never going to be able to create plays if a play breaks down or anything like that, and that's just something that's never going to happen. Now, thirdly, the one negative thing that I think needs to be fixed, and how he does this is completely up to him, and it's just, I think most of it is a mental thing. It's the road woes. I don't think he was as good on the road. I don't think the whole offense was, but this is about Goff. He was a different quarterback on the road. It felt like he took forever to get warmed up, to get going in this system. He'd go a quarter or 2, 2.5, 3 quarters without throwing a touchdown. He didn't have a lot of touchdowns in the second on the road. I think he threw maybe how many touchdowns did he throw altogether? 29, I believe. He might have had 6. He might have had 6 or 7. As a road guy, I should have wrote that down. I'm sorry. But he just didn't have a lot of touchdowns on the road. Now, I'm not saying he needs to be Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, but I'm just saying I think he needs to be better. It just almost felt like he was held back, or he was holding himself back on the road. And we can't have that. In order to be a playoff team, you're going to have to win games on the road. Now, we won some games on the road. We did. Now, I think most of those games we won on the road were basically because we played good defense and we could run the football. Now, Jared Goff was a part of that, 100%. But I think most of those wins that we had on the road were just, we're good defense and run the ball. Just that simple. Now, don't take that as a shot, but it's a concern. But it's a concern for me. It's a concern for me. Now, he had a great year. We're not going to be able to erase that. That's fine. Now we're going on to 2023, and I think some of that needs to be fixed. Some of that road stuff needs to be fixed, and I think that's the biggest concern for me is his road woes. It can't really work on the leg part. He's just not a runner. It's just not going to happen. And the throwing part, can he work on his power? That's up to him. A little bit of weightlifting. We'll see if that works or not. But I'm not asking him to be able to throw a ball through a brick wall. Like I said, I just would like a little more power. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But the road woes, I think, can be fixed. Now, how he does that is completely up to him. I think a lot of that's mental, because you're not going to get the luxury of being at home with the quiet crowd. You're not going to get that when you're on the road. Fans are up. People are screaming and yelling. It's a different atmosphere. I think at times that, I'm not saying it rattled his cage, but it obviously got to him because he was just a different quarterback on the road. Numbers weren't as good. His completion percentage was pretty much the same, though. I do remember that. I wish I would have wrote down how many touchdowns he threw on the road. I know he threw like 3 against Carolina, a couple against Minnesota. None against. I don't think any against the Patriots. Nothing against the Dallas Cowboys, I believe. I don't think he even threw any against the Giants. So it was wavering around 6 or 7, 8, something like that, which I think is a bit of an issue. I just think it's a bit of an issue now. We just need him to be a little bit. It just seems like the confidence level wasn't there on the road. That's how I felt when I watched this whole offense, when I watched the whole team. But this isn't about all that. I'm trying to focus on the quarterbacks. I don't want to get away from what I'm talking about. But he just seemed like he was a little bit different on the road. I know I keep repeating that, but that's how I feel. And I think that needs to change going into 2023. And I think it will. But those are some of the negatives that I feel about this quarterback room. It's probably going on a little bit longer than I want it to go. And that's okay. 13 minutes and change. But that's it, guys. That's for the quarterback room right now that I'm talking about. This is my yearly review of the Detroit Lions. We're going to focus on the negatives first. Don't worry, I'm getting to the positives, but it's going to be a little bit down the road. Probably do running backs or wide receivers next. All depends who I want to do. We're going to do quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, O-line. We might even throw some coaches in there, but it's going to be a long one, guys. This is going to be a long series, and thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Get all my videos up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Just some, we're just going to be talking about some negatives and positives going on in our Detroit Lions for the yearly review of 2022. Thanks, guys. Go Lions. Let's go. Boom. One pride, baby.